Xin chào đón quý vị đến với chương trình Câu Chuyện Kinh Doanh. Thưa quý vị, khái niệm cũng như là mô hình doanh nghiệp xã hội được luật hóa lần đầu tiên trong luật doanh nghiệp năm 2014. Tuy nhiên sau đó 2 năm thì chỉ có một doanh nghiệp đăng ký là doanh nghiệp xã hội. Và cho đến nay thì dường như thị trường của chúng ta vẫn chưa quen lắm với mô hình này. Và trong chương trình ngày hôm nay thì chúng ta sẽ được tìm hiểu nhiều hơn về khái niệm doanh nghiệp xã hội. Và Tú Trinh xin được giới thiệu hai vị khách mời đặc biệt của chương trình ngày hôm nay. Đó là bà Trần Thiên Trà, là Chủ tịch Tổ chức Hỗ trợ Cộng đồng Doanh nghiệp Xã hội Việt Nam, và giáo sư Louis David Bengeyer đến từ Đại học ESCP châu Âu và trường CFVG Việt Nam. Good morning, Mr. Thiên Trà and Professor Louis David Bengeyer. Thank you very much for both of you. To joining our program here today for a discussion around the concept of social enterprising. In Vietnam, the law and regulation have been set out for the social enterprise since 2014. But generally speaking, some people understand it as just a mixing between the profit organization and non-profit organization. So, Mr. David, is that understanding correct?
Well, actually, in Europe and in North America, the concept of social enterprise is quite vague, and there can be many different options.
Okay.
What we can see in Europe, it's some non-profit organizations are social enterprise, and some for-profit organizations are social enterprise. So we can find both situations, at least in Europe.
So it's also new as well, not in Vietnam, but also in the world, right? About the meaning of social enterprise. But what is the most special about social enterprise?
I think a way of making it simple is that social enterprises are companies or organizations that have two types of objectives. One objective is social, like education, health, agriculture, whatever. And at the same time, they pursue business objectives. They have clients, they have sometimes shareholders, they have suppliers. And that's what is new about social enterprise, because we were used to having charities that have only social goals, and we were used to have corporations that had only economic and business objectives. What's new with social enterprises is that they pursue both objectives, social and business or economic.
Why is there a demand for a SE?
Actually, in Europe, there is at the same time several factors. First, we have massive unemployment and economic crisis since 2008. It not started in 2008, but since then it's getting bigger. So we have more and more, let's say, social problems. At the same time, corporations, companies, they are challenged by citizens or consumers. They say, well, you should do something. So corporations, they are now aware that they should work into, let's say, the social business. And I would add that in France in particular, but in Europe more generally, the state has less and less resource to cope with the problems. So companies, more and more, citizens, they need to address those problems without relying only on the state.
So, Mr. In Vietnam, actually, I myself also not really similar with the definition of SE. So, is there any particular, organization or company in Vietnam that registered as an SE?
Social enterprise already existed in Vietnam since 1990. Social enterprise is a form of social initiative, and there is a demand of the founder to share the social responsibility of the state. We have many social enterprises in Vietnam. Like in education, we have some training and consultancy centers that they support they create vocational skill training program for disability.
So, Mr. Van here, because of the nature of an SE, so people sometimes misunderstand between the meaning of an CSR and an SE. So, how to distinguish between these two?
CSR is a concept or a practice that is more used by big corporations. Social responsibility is something that they have been really incentivized to consider. It doesn't mean that their main objective is social.
It's not a must, right? It's just
something,
an activity. Yes.
And it's positive. For example, we have oil manufacturers, oil companies. They're still doing their business of oil drilling, and which is probably a kind of issue for our environment. But they have corporate social responsibility programs so that they take also actions to have a positive impact on the environment. On the contrary, social enterprises, they have as a number one objective a social objective, and they also have an objective business related.
In another hand, can you tell us a little bit of the differences between an NGO, a non-profit organization, and an SE?
Traditionally, charities or NGOs, they collect funds either by individuals or by companies, and they have a only non-for-profit objective, like education. They do not sell products or services. They collect funds and they lead activities to improve education, to solve problems. But what we observe is the emergence of new types of companies that do not collect funds by donations, but they are operating in the market. They are selling services, like, for example, in a restaurant. A lot of restaurants in Europe, for example, employ people that have problems finding jobs. So that's the main difference. They do not collect funds the same way. NGOs and charities receive donations. Social enterprises, they sell products and services.
And they would do, their social responsibilities, activities, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, and we will talk more about the challenges and obstacles of an SE in the later part. Thưa quý vị, chúng tôi vẫn đang trò chuyện với hai vị khách mời về khái niệm doanh nghiệp xã hội tại Việt Nam cũng như trên thế giới, và chúng tôi sẽ tiếp tục chương trình sau ít phút giải lao.